Just a little late night watching the Field of 68, my favorite college basketball show, and probably my favorite thing to watch on YouTube. My inspiration. Gonna watch one of my favorite hosts, John Fanta, talk about my Texas A&M Aggies. Let's just see what he has to say about their win against Auburn.
Still, with A&M, I think they're a Sweet 16 team. I don't think they're beyond that, and I don't even know if they're that. I think that's their ceiling. Excuse me. I think.
No, John. Oh, Fanta. Texas A&M ceiling is the Sweet 16. How can that be? I thought they were supposed to go to the Final Four. Well, I'm going to explain why this beautiful man, is wrong about my Aggies. Texas A&M is not the flashiest team. They're not the sexiest team you're going to see. They turn the ball over a decent bit. They don't shoot a very high percentage from 3 or from 2. They're not overall very extraordinarily talented. They don't have any guys that are going to be NBA stars. They're not even at the top of the SEC, right? They lost 4 in a row going into the Auburn game, and they are prone to cold spells. But this is my team. I have to spread the Aggie love. This is why they are going to go far, and the Sweet 16 is not their ceiling. Their ceiling is a national championship. All right, I'm going to fire off that take. It's very hot, I know. But let me tell you what I'm thinking. All right, just hear me out, right? So they have a 10-man rotation, right? This helps when you're playing games in succession. Helps with your depth. Like if one guy goes down, you have 9 other guys that can hopefully fill a spot. I personally prefer, I know depth isn't the craziest thing when it comes to the tournament because all these guys are really well conditioned, yada, yada, yada. But I like having the 10-man rotation because you can ride the hot hand. You don't have to worry about a drop-off if someone gets in foul trouble, etc. Right? So they have 10 very solid players. 8 of those guys are seniors, right? I don't think you understand how important that is. Like 8 seniors, that's 8 guys. I mean, 6 of them have been in the program for 4 years under Buzz Williams. And then 2 juniors. So every guy that they play is an upperclassman, pretty much. It's crazy, right? I mean, when you're playing all upperclassmen, they have experience. They're a little bit more mature generally. They're not going to get too flustered when things are going wrong. They only have 2 transfers, too. I think transfers can be good, but as we've seen with the UConn teams and with Kansas and with Baylor the year before, transfers are good only when there's just a couple of them. Obviously, there are good teams that are made of entirely all transfers, like Kentucky. But I feel as if having the majority of your team be continuous from last season is very good just because of that team chemistry. I think team chemistry exists. I don't think it's a myth. But the 2 transfers, Zurich Phelps and Pharrell Payne, are extremely talented. This is the one thing that I love about Texas A&M. Offensive rebounds. If I'm ever blessed enough to coach a college basketball team, I would stress the offensive boards because that's extra possessions, extra shots, winning those hustle plays, a lot of offensive rebounding. A lot of it's positioning, sure, but a lot of it is just hustle, being in the right spot, jumping at the right time. That's all stuff that I feel as if you can learn a little bit, when you don't, as seen by Texas A&M. Of course, they have Henry Coleman, who's a big guy, but their 2 best rebounders, Anderson Garcia and Solomon Washington, who we'll talk about in a little bit, are both undersized guys at 6'7", but they get rebounds over much taller defenders because they just know how to do it. It's an art form, offensive rebounding. And then defense and overall intensity. They have a top 10 defense via KenPom. Always a good thing. I love defense. And then they're intense, man. Buzz Williams always has his teams play hard. Going back to Virginia Tech, and then Marquette, where he had Jimmy Butler. Like, they just bring the intensity. These guys want to win. As the last point says, they haven't gone very far yet in the tournament. They made the NIT finals so let's talk about Wade Taylor's career here, right? NIT finals, they lost, right? Good start, but not where you want to be. They made it as, I think, a 7 seed in 22-23. Lost in the first round to Penn State, right? Penn State was a good team. Year 3, a little bit of a setback. You're an 8 seed. You win a game, so you finally win a tournament game, and then you lose in overtime to Houston, who was a number 1 seed, right? No shame in that, but not where you want to be. This year is, if the trajectory keeps going, you could see them Sweet 16, and I feel as if they can beat any team in the country, right? Fanta and his guys said that the win against Auburn is a misnomer, resume misnomer. I get it. I get that point. I love these guys. They make tremendous points, but I would argue that beating number 1 Auburn, even if it's on your senior year day and it's a trap game, like, beating them is good enough. Like, it might be a little bit of a misnomer because Auburn wasn't at full strength, but Janai Broom still played. Like, even though he was hurt a little bit, he still played. All those guys that had beat up on other SEC teams still played, Plus, they have other wins, too, like that comeback win on the road against Ole Miss. They beat Purdue in Indianapolis, kind of smoked them, too. They have wins against Texas Tech, big win earlier in the season. They just play teams pretty tight, and they have lost some games here, but I don't think that's as big of a deal as you'd think. Obviously, you got Wade Taylor, right, who is, the all-time leading scorer in Texas A&M history. Congratulations to him on that. Great accomplishment. He's getting his jersey in the rafters. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but hey, I think he might be the best player in Texas A&M history, so why not? Look, he's very hot and cold. He has a terrible shooting percentage. He kind of just chucks up shots sometimes that are bad shots. He's not your perfect point guard, floor general guy. But, tournaments are for guys like Wade Taylor. They're for the guys that can hit a deep 3 late in the shot clock. Teams that can hang in there and then hit a clutch shot in overtime. Wade Taylor is a senior in this team's experience. I think they can do that, right? Zurich Phelps is also another guy transferred in from SMU for his final year of college basketball. He's here to win, right? He didn't just transfer for a senior year just for laughs. He could have been a 4-year starter at SMU, but he transferred in to win games. He's a bucket. And then Anderson Garcia and Solomon Washington. These are only 2 of, obviously, Texas A&M is just a team. They're not a group of individuals. They're an actual team. But these guys are insane hustle guys, great playmakers, great offensive rebounders, defensive rebounders. They're going to give you everything they have. I really love this team, this Texas A&M team. I know that they're going to disappoint me. They're going to lose to some random team who's going to get hot, and Wade Taylor's going to go like 2 for 25 from the field. But until that happens, I'm just enjoying the ride. And if you want to listen to me, as a guy who's watched a lot of Texas A&M basketball this year and believes they can go far, Fanta, I think I might be right on this one. Let me know, guys.